Hi, my name is Sitaram and I'm one of the directors of Zeal Educational Services, an organization which is located in Ahmedabad. I'm going to show you something about a very exciting new product called the Zeal DigiScope, which we have brought out recently. It's a DigiScope, which essentially means it's a digital microscope. A microscope means, as you are already aware, something which will show you very tiny objects very easily, and it's a digital microscope, which means that you can actually connect it to your favorite laptop or PC and view the results on that. This is the actual microscope, and as you can see, it's very light as compared to the ones which are there in a typical school. Let me show you how to use the microscope. The first thing which you need to do is that there is a cap which is provided at the end. Where while you're taking observations, it's good to remove it. Please have the cap on when it's not in use. That will protect the CMOS detector from any possible damage. This goes into a USB port. So what we do is to take this USB dongle and connect it to a USB port, which could be on a laptop or on a PC. Once we connect this, the first thing we can do is to switch on the LEDs. There are lights inside which can be controlled by means of this thumb wheel. You can control the brightness with this, and you can see the LEDs are on now. There will be a program called AM Cap which will be given to you. That will be on a flash drive which we are providing. There you have to start the AM Cap program and select Lenovo camera. Once you do that, you will see a brownish color screen in front of you. Let me show you how you actually use this. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to place this camera on various parts of my body. For example, here, this is my skin, and on the screen you can see the various images of my skin. I can keep it on my hair. You can see the hair quite clearly. I can keep it also on my cheek. When I keep it on my cheek, not only can you see the skin, but you can also see the hair follicles, and you can even see some small bits of hair which are left over after I shaved in the morning. You can keep it on the eyebrow. Your children can do a study on how eyebrow hair differs from, for example, the hair on your head. This is generally much thinner. So your children can have a lot of fun in exploring all these things. I now move on to the next set of samples. I have some thread out here, and I want to show you what it looks like under the microscope. For example, this is jute, and you can see the individual fibers which make up jute thread. This is woolen, and you can clearly see again that there are a large number of gaps between the fibers which make up woolen, and this is where the air is trapped, and which is why wool becomes so warm. If you look at cotton you will find there's much less air trapped. This is silk, and you can clearly see the shine which you find when you look at silk thread. And this is stranded cotton again. You will again see that there's not too much of space between them. You can also look at different kinds of fabric. Here is one which is not exactly worn. It's a jute fabric, looks rather like the thread which you saw. I'll show you one more. This is my shirt, and you can clearly see on my shirt that you have these threads which are going left, right, and up, down. If you look at my handkerchief, you will see that once again you have the threads going up, down, but then the difference is that there are a large number of holes. The weaving is much looser, which is why handkerchiefs tend to look a little transparent. This is a cloth of a completely different kind. You can see that the left-right, top-down system of fibers is not there. Instead, you have a confused mass of fibers, and this is called non-woven cloth, and this is what is used for making bags. I now have some crystals to show you. The simplest and the most common, of course, would be sugar, and this is what sugar looks like under the DigiScope. You can clearly make out the shape of the sugar crystals out here. This is copper sulfate. And once again, you see that they are a lovely blue color. And finally, I have cobalt chloride out here. Cobalt chloride also looks very good, the beautiful purple color under the DigiScope. Let me now show you some flowers and insects. I have a small collection of flowers here. I'm going to keep the microscope on them, and you can see right at the center the structures inside the flower. Oh, this is better. You can see the anther. Just a minute while I get it. Yes. Right. And this is Tulsi. Once again. Yes. Right. Now here I have a bumblebee, the wing of a bumblebee, and once again you can see the structure of the bumblebee wing, including the ridges on it. And this is, let me try to show you the hair on the legs of the bumblebee. Yes, this is again part of the wing. Yes, there you can see. You can see the hair on the legs of the bumblebee itself. I also have some mold. This is mold which has grown on bread. Let me show you that. Yes, you can see the mycelium on the mold quite clearly, the stalks and the buds at the end of the stalks. I now have some slides here, and I want to show you how you can see slides using the Zeal DigiScope. What we need to do is to keep the slide on a white card. The reason is slides are meant to be seen in transmitted light, whereas here we are using reflected light. So here is an example. This is an artery and a vein slide. This is a permanent slide which we have purchased from the market, and you can see quite clearly the structures within. Here is a fungus, it's called agaricus, and once again you can see the structures inside very clearly. And here is a beautiful example, a mosquito, a female Anopheles mosquito. You can clearly see the wing structures and the antenna and so on. Now what you can also do with this microscope is that you get a stand along with the microscope, and if you are demonstrating these kinds of things to your school, what you can do is fix the microscope on the stand, keep it like this, and you can be showing this on a large screen, and you can be standing near the large screen and pointing to the various structures on the screen rather than telling children to peer through a microscope one by one. Can you imagine how much easier it would become to teach biology and to show slides if you can do this? That's one of the most amazing things about the Zeal DigiScope. I now want to show you something which has fascinated me ever since I saw it for the first time. What happens when you look at an LCD screen or an LED screen using the DigiScope? So what I'm going to do is, first I've switched off the LEDs on this, and as you can see on the laptop screen, I have two windows which are open. One window is for the DigiScope, the other window is showing a white patch. When I keep this out here, you can clearly see that there are crystals of different lamps of different colors, red, green and blue. These are the LEDs which are glowing. Now let me change the color patch on this. As you saw, all the red, green and blue, all three were on. Now if I'm placing it on the blue patch, as you can see, only the blue LEDs are on, the red and the green LEDs are both off. This is how your TV screen is actually showing you multiple colors. You can do the same thing with your mobile. Let me first maximize the screen, and you can see that on the mobile again you will see small tiny little LED crystals. Now these are much smaller than what you see on your computer screen. Yeah, now you have it. You can still see red, green and blue, but these are much tinier, which is why the resolution on a mobile screen is normally much better than what you see on a TV screen or on a monitor. You can also look at newspaper, for example. Newspapers, especially colorful newspapers, You can see that these are also made up of tiny little dots. Let me focus it a bit. Yes, the tiny little dots, but these are no longer made up of red, green and blue. They are instead made up of the printing colors, which are cyan, magenta and yellow and black. You may have seen on notice boards that we do CMYK printing or Xeroxing, and that's what is the meaning of CMYK: cyan, magenta, yellow and black, which are the 4 colors which are used for printing. Let's see what's on the other side, whether we can get anything interesting. Yes, even here you can see the same thing. You can see beautiful colors again. Yes, the tiny little dots of color. We were so impressed with the Zeal DigiScope when we saw it for the first time that we designed a special kit meant for schools. Let me show you the kit. In the kit, we provide you with various items. The first item which we provide are a set of posters. Now, for example, this is a simple poster talking about optical microscopes, the principles behind microscopes. These are portraits of the first few microscopists, Janssen, Hooke and Antony van Leeuwenhoek, and the microscopes which they made. And these are some of the drawings which they were forced to make. They were not lucky enough to have a digiscope where they could have just taken a screenshot. Instead, they had to sit and actually draw things. And these are a few of the drawings which they made. These are some of the photographs which we have clicked using the digiscope. Actually, when you look at the digiscope application, AMCAP, you will see that there is a small camera icon there. You can click on it and you will have a record of whatever you are seeing on the screen. Of course, as I already told you, you can also shoot a video. These are again pictures, all taken with the Zeal DigiScope. We also give you a 24-page booklet which shows you what you can do with the Zeal DigiScope, especially in the school. For example, here are some activities which you can do with materials from your kitchen. You can investigate mold, you can look at pepper powder, you can look at Nescafe, you can look at green tea, all kinds of fun things to do in your school. You can also get things from the garden. For example, you can look at sand, you can look at rocks, you can look at gems. Your children are sure to have a nice time exploring different things in their environment using the Zeal DigiScope. The box also contains 5 digiscopes, okay, so that students can use it in groups of 5 or 6 in a class, and it also contains a sample box. What we have in the sample box is, first of all, a set of slides. These slides have been chosen so that they are interesting to all students in a school. They include some hole mounts which would be fascinating for young children, as well as things like stems, the transfer sections of stems and so on, which would be interesting to older students. We also have some samples available. For example, we have CTC tea leaves, so you can take a look at what tea leaves look like before you ask your students to bring samples from home. Of course, we would expect that your students would be bringing most of the samples, and they would have a nice time comparing, for example, different brands of CTC leaves, or how CTC leaves differ from green tea or from tea dust. I'm sure you will be able to think of hundreds of interesting projects which you and your children can do with the help of this beautiful instrument. Aren't you fascinated by the Zeal DigiScope? Can you not see how much of fun your students can have, how much of learning can take place with the help of this beautiful instrument? If you're as excited as I am, get in touch with us at the earliest, and we will ship you a copy of the kit at the earliest. Thank you very much.